Hey everybody, a worm of tapered expectations here today to casually talk about Lightfall, which is coming in just a few days. And as much as our excitement is bubbling over, we need to kind of get real with our expectations here. Now, this is in no means a video trash talking Lightfall or saying that it's going to suck or anything like that, because I think Lightfall is going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be a great expansion, great for the game. And of course, we've been waiting, including myself, a long time for it. But again, we need to make sure that we have a certain level of expectations. That way we aren't disappointed. And I say this because when Witch Queen and Beyond Light and Shadowkeep and basically every expansion has dropped, I feel like a lot of players come to the forums and come to YouTube and stuff to complain and vent and stuff like that about the content that is, within the game here. So, of course, let's talk about tapering expectations. Now, when I say taper expectations, of course, I don't mean expect it to be dog doo-doo. Okay, I do expect it to be a quality expansion, just like most people probably do. But I want us to keep in mind that, a quality expansion does not mean that it is going to be the greatest expansion in the history of ever. That was taken probably by the Taken King back in Destiny 1. And for Destiny 2, I don't know what I would rank the best expansion as, but let's just, let's be real with ourselves. Now, in terms of tapering expectations, we have several new things. So I kind of want to talk about each one and just kind of give fresh reminders of things in the past that have happened. We have Strand coming, so a whole new subclass. We have a new location. We have relatively new enemy sub-archetypes, I guess. Not a new race or anything like that, but we're fighting a different type of cabal. No, I take that back. We do have a different race of enemy. That's the I forget the name the name of them off the top of my head, but it's the big pyramid creepy guys that use void to suck the power out of you, or something along those lines. I don't know, it hasn't come out yet, so we can figure that out when it comes here. But there's a host of new weapons. There's a new season, which is going to include new seasonal activities. There's a new mainstream activity for the expansion. And I'm just going to kind of touch on each of these lightly as we go here and just remind players of what you should expect from them. No more, no less. Starting off with a big one, which is Strand. Now, Strand, of course, has been highly amped by Bungie. They have been talking crazy hype about it. They've been showing off some crazy footage of it. I'm very excited for it. And you should be excited for it too. But let's not get carried away with ourselves in terms of Strand. Like, it's going to be very good at first. And Bungie's even talked about, how good it's going to be compared to Stasis. They said it's not going to be as good as Stasis, but expect Strand to be more powerful than all of our current subclasses. And I would say, Bungie saying, oh, we're trying not to make it too powerful, but not that I don't have faith in Bungie, but I would say we'll see when it gets there. Because I typically, more often than not, when Bungie says something is not going to be as powerful, they mean like 10% weaker or something like that. Like, it's only going to have 90% of the power that Stasis did at launch. So let's expect Strand to be very powerful. So if you're watching this and you are not planning on getting Lightfall and you plan on playing in the Crucible or something like that, expect Strand to be almost seen pay to win. Expect to be frustrated by getting suspended and stuff like that. Plus, not only that, but with Strand comes a whole new way to counterplay, and nobody's going to know the counterplay that first week. So, expect Strand to be one of the more powerful things, one of the more powerful subclasses. Now, also, in terms of Strand, do expect Strand to be reined in at some point. Stasis was, of course, a very strong subclass at launch, and then it got reined in. And Stasis, it's still good, but it's not nearly as good as it was. And I would argue that Stasis is probably in the bottom, close to the bottom of our current subclasses. We've got Solar Arc, Void, and Stasis. I would put, depending on your class, Stasis at the bottom or second to bottom. In comparison to the light subclasses. So do expect, the Strand nerf to come in and kind of hit that once it's had its time in the sun expect it to drop back off. Let's see here. What else in terms of Strand should we expect? I think that that's all I can think of for now. Um, in terms of Strand. Oh, one other thing. I think that they're talking about movement based stuff. I would not be surprised to see Strand, like, the what's it called? They have the grapple ability and stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that not being as usable as we would like. I think that a lot of players see it like, oh man, I want to swing through the streets like Tarzan. I have a feeling that if you're not playing on Hunter, which of course we know Hunter has, it's been confirmed, has an additional ability behind, the grapple, but expect to not be able to use it quite as much as you want. And yeah, other than that, I can't think of anything else for Strand. Let's move on from Strand. Let's talk about the actual expansion of Lightfall itself, which is, I think we should taper our expectation for Neomuna. Of course, we saw with Europa, it was very hyped. It was very cool at first, but nobody, like, there's not much going on Europa. It's got the stasis zone. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Strand, like a Strand empowered area of Neomuna. Every, week it rotates, or every day it rotates. I can't remember if it's daily or weekly, but I wouldn't be surprised to see that. But the location itself, it's going to look really pretty, but that's probably it. There's probably not going to be very much to do there, outside of gathering, some triumphs like we got with, what's it called? The Savathun's Throne World. They're probably gonna have some neat little quests that you can do, or some activities and stuff, but overall, it's probably not gonna be just a wonderful, great area. It's gonna look good, it's gonna have neat strikes and stuff going on there, but it's not gonna be just cracked out of its mind, and we're not gonna be spending hours in the patrol there. I think another expectation to set, of course, with Neomuna is the expectation that we're going to have some sort of rank up system, similar to how we did in Savathun's Throne World, where we have to grind to get, the armor sets. We see these really neat looking armor sets in all the ads and stuff like that. And they're very, very cool, but I think that we're going to have to grind for a while to get them. I would also say expect some sort of bug to come up at some point to allow you to get just infinite XP. And rank up to rank 50 probably as quick as possible. But other than that, in terms of the actual new location itself, I don't think that anything too major else is going on there. But moving on from the location itself, I want to talk about the actual activities within the location, mainly the strikes and the seasonal activity. The seasonal activity is going to be grindy and unfun. It's going to be fun at first, likely, but if we're being real with ourselves, Wellspring, not really the most fun activity. Yeah, it was neat when it first came out. It was fresh, it felt good to do. But after doing it for, that first season, it's like, okay, I'm done doing the Wellspring, and I think a lot of players just did the Wellspring so they could get their exotic glaive, and that was it. And that's a similar thing that I think we should expect with Neomuna. I could be wrong. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. Obviously, I hope I'm wrong about everything I'm talking about here. But yeah, that's the new, and I shouldn't say seasonal. That's the expansion activity, similar to how Wellspring was the expansion activity for the Witch Queen. But moving on to the strikes, really strikes, we're gonna get, I think, 2 strikes, if I'm not mistaken, is what Bungie said. I mean, I like strikes. I have a feeling these strikes are going to be good. I would set high expectations for the strikes. I think that these are probably going to be some of the most fun strikes that we've had, because every time Bungie adds a new, yearly expansion, the strikes they add are great. Okay, think about the Glassway from Beyond Light. Think about the Light Blade from Witch Queen. They are great strikes. Easily some of my favorites. So I think that it's okay to have very high expectations for those. But yeah, let's move on to the actual loot that's going to come with Lightfall, not with Season of Defiance, but the actual Lightfall. In terms of weapons and armor, I don't know how, we've seen that we've got a preview of a lot of the exotics. Hopefully there's more, probably not. Let's not expect there to be any more than the exotics that we've seen, because I don't think that Bungie's going to add like dozens of exotics or anything like that. But I do have high hopes for the exotics we've seen, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see them being a little bit busted. And so, of course, we want to go in with the expectation that new exotics are going to be, number one, they're going to be busted. Sorry, number one, they're going to be absolutely busted. Number two, they're going to absolutely be garbage, because that's the trend that we see. We never see helmets, or I'm sorry, not helmets, but armor pieces launch in a great balanced state. You know, we always see armor pieces come out like Lorelei Splendor at launch, where it was insanely good. Okay. You know, point contact cannon brace, which was insanely good for about 4 days, and then it got nerfed to absolute crap, and it's still absolute crap as far as I'm concerned, but I haven't used it in a while, so I don't know. But do expect the exotic armor pieces and the exotic weapons to be either super overtuned or super undertuned, and not really like a perfect balance, kind of right in the middle. In terms of Season of Defiance, I don't really have too much to say. I mean, the seasonal activity, we've had it for a long time. Expect there to be some sort of Season of Defiance playlist activity, you know, similar to how we had the heist battleground, stuff like that. I think that's, you know, I can't really speak for it. You know, we know we're going to get some type of pyramid technology on Earth. We've seen it in the trailers and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that Season of Defiance is going to be just kind of an average season in Destiny 2. The loot's going to be average. We're going to get new perks and stuff like that, which at some point we need to do a full review of every single perk in Destiny for new players, talk about the strengths of them, the weaknesses of them, stuff like that. But we'll do one of those later on, maybe on Monday before Lightfall while we're killing time. But yeah, that's kind of Season of Defiance. Of course, we're getting a host of weapons with Season of Defiance. I'm going to be real with you. I wouldn't be surprised if we see our Season of the Lost seasonal weapons coming as like kind of refurbished weapons in Season of Defiance. I mean, we've seen, you know, the fusion rifle, I think the auto rifle, they look very similar to the Season of the Lost seasonal weapon, just with a different like kind of skin on them. Slightly different. They're not exactly the same, but you know, I just want everybody to be well aware that we might get very similar weapons that we had in Season of the Lost, which is kind of refresh perks. And I didn't really, outside of Fractithus, I didn't think that any of the Season of the Lost weapons were that great. So yeah. Other than that, I can't really think of any expectations I want to be tapered. And again, I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy, because I'm just as excited as anybody else in here. But I do want players to not have a sense of disappointment, because if we get overhyped for Lightfall and it comes out and it's not as good as we think it's going to be, we're going to be hurt. We're not going to be feeling it. We're going to be upset. You know, players going to say, oh, it's the worst expansion, blah, 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 blah. But if we taper our expectations, expect, hey, you know what? It's not going to be, you know, anything too crazy. And then it comes out and it is crazy. We are going to have a blast. Me personally, I am super ready for Lightfall. Very excited. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. I'm going to be doing everything I can to keep my mind off of Destiny for the next few days, because it's a waiting game at this point, and I'm very, very excited for it. So I hope everybody else is as excited as I am. And of course, we hope to catch y'all over on stream. We're going to be streaming some of the new stuff, hopefully, whenever it comes out. But if not, of course, keep your eyes peeled for more videos. I've got more. Like I said, we're going to do a video talking about all the perks in the game at some point, talking about goods, bad, stuff like that. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch y'all in the next one. And that's it for me, guys. Bye for now.